All right. So then this one is intriguing to me because I feel like this is for a lot of people who want to optimize their life in a way, but it's the marriage by design. And once again, that's a marriage that's chosen for various factors that might not center around love or commitment in the traditional sense. Now, what this makes me think of is, for instance, people who want to survive together, right? Like, I don't know why I've got this feeling, but a lot of times when I see like a lot of these old Asian couples, this is what crosses my mind. It's like they got together and they effectively, maybe at some point they had a romantic, fire about them. But even after that kind of dwindled, they knew that their setup created the greatest opportunity in their life for some sort of thing that they both wanted to pursue. So let's just say, because it's an easy example for me to make, you got two people who are interested in permaculture, right? Being off grid, sovereignty, fuck the system sort of thing. They may be attracted by some degree of, romantic love, kind of that infatuation for each other. But let's just say that it was 3 reasons they were in a relationship with each other. If they're not equally 33%, or if the infatuation is not the plurality, then effectively you may actually be in a marriage by design. Even if you're not viewing it that way, it doesn't mean somebody has to enter into it like, oh, we're marrying so that we can get these tax breaks and we can go afford this, But I think effectively that would be my almost definition, is if the love, the fire, the passion, the romance, if that is not the majority of the reason that you're together, or the plurality, then it's probably some relationship based on design. But it's interesting how this could, differ from something else that we have later. But
there's
thoughts?
2 individuals in my close in my close circle that have entered into or have almost entered into marriage by designs, and 50%, half of them, were based on immigration status.
That's a great example too.
Needed to become a U.S. citizen to stay here when their visa was expiring. And I won't put them on blast, but
don't do that.
It is something that I've never considered. I have never dated somebody that did not have citizenship ever in my life, regardless of ethnicity or skin color or amount of melanin in their skin. Like, it has never crossed my mind. Like, oh damn, like, we might have to get legally married so you can do that. And effectively wouldn't do it. That's fraud. But it is something that happens out there, day in, day out. And there's 2 people in my life that have almost entered into marriage by designs, and there's plenty of people, I feel like, and I don't know, this could be bastardization of what she's saying here, but what say you to the relationships that started in romance that have changed and people stay together for kids? Is that by design, to raise kids under that?
I think based on this definition, it would be, because there's, like, as we know, there's a lot of gradation, right? It's not like some people can marry each other, or rather, people can get married and then, in a way, lose, if we want to call it that, or the passion dwindle, but they still could be very fond of each other. It could go from being this burning infatuation, passion, erotic thing, to just being like a very deep fondness, like more of a kinship, more of a friendship that's very, very thorough. And I think particularly if people find themselves in that situation and they happen to have kids, then it can kind of make more sense to stay married, to minimize disruption that could happen to their lives individually. Let's say they built something up great, there was no prenup signed, and the whoever would be the one to lose the money, because there's always an assumption it's the male. It's whoever makes the most money. Whoever entered into it with more assets is the one who would lose those assets. But if there's that acknowledgement of like, hey, I'm not trying to put you in that position, we got a pretty good thing. Because then at that point, you could actually create a open relationship within a marriage by design, similar to what there was a lot of speculation for a long time around Will and Jada Smith. And then they finally realized it profited them to talk about it more publicly. And I'm not fully abreast. I just know they had some conversations about it in the meme, but the August Alsina thing, and Will crying. But I think there's a point to that of like, hey, people got to do what's best for them in their unique situation. And just because it's just a lot of gray area for people, but ultimately you got to make the best choice for yourself. And sometimes staying married, even if you're not in love anymore with that person in the way that marriage tries to imply, might actually be the best scenario rather than divorcing, selling the house, splitting the kids up, moving districts, just so that you can see other people, when it's like everything else you would still stay on board for, you know? So that's an interesting one, man.